Hey there, as a creator, we really don't want to just be wasting money on buying random things that we're never going to use. Although, I'll admit, I'm still in my Gear Addict classes and I'm doing well. I think I got like 2 medals. But today, what we're going to talk about is the top 5 things that I acquired this year that I found extremely useful. We'll run through them quickly and hopefully, if you're in the market for any of these objects next year, maybe you'll check them out. Starting with number one, as you will see, I like to use the same equipment for both, personal use, business, work. And so the first thing that I found very useful this year was getting the Logi MX keyboard, which is a wireless keyboard that works in both Windows and MacBook, and Mac, works in both Windows and Mac. But the thing I like about it is that you can put multiple computers on the same keyboard. So my keyboard, I have the button set up so let's say number one is the corporate Windows layout. Then number two is the MacBook photography Life at 35mm layout. And then number three, I can actually have, selected something else. And I can just switch between all the different computers on one keyboard. This has been extremely useful and a time saver when, at the end of the day, you hit 5 o'clock and you switch from one job to the next job. I just touch one button, then I'm there. So if you're in the market for a keyboard, I had mechanical keyboards and I like the feel of them, but over the feel of it, I like the ability to be able to switch between multiple computers. Now, if this year I found a mechanical keyboard that can allow me to switch between computers and is wireless, I don't know if you know of any, please let me know in the comments. But that's the number one item that I found extremely useful this year. Number two on my list is the M-Audio Air. I think I have the 128-6, which is a desktop audio interface that allows you to essentially run microphones and any audio sources into your computer. Now, what I've done, again, similar to before, I use it for both my corporate work and for my after hours Life at 35mm business. And the benefit I found in this is that I can hook my monitors up to it and I can essentially run my mic into my audio interface that's, linked up with my corporate system that I do most of my work calls on. I have the output running into my M-Audio Air to play through my monitor speakers. And then when I'm ready to switch over to the Life at 35mm, all I gotta do is just turn one dial and now all the sound coming off of my Mac is running through the monitors also, and I can kind of switch between both. In addition, I can run my mic through that M-Air and record directly into my Mac Studio. And so that has been extremely useful in situations like this where I'm shooting something. If I mess up or I need to do voiceover, I just plug it right on in. I do a voiceover from there and, record directly into Final Cut Pro. And I'll be honest with you, I wanted to get the nicer one, the one that you see everybody with, but that thing like $1,700, and I'm not paying that much for it. This is much more affordable. It works extremely good, and I enjoy it. So that's the number two item that I use on a literally daily basis for anything audio coming out of any computer in my office. Number three item is the Live Pro L1. What is the Live Pro L1? All right, so Live Pro L1 is actually a video switcher. I have been looking for some solutions. There is a plugin that you can use to take your Atomos Ninja and you can add some things to it and it turns it into a 4-camera switcher, but I use my Atomos for recording and monitoring, so I didn't want to double use it or overuse that particular functionality. I like to run a component-based system. With the Live Pro L1, I have a little board and I can simply switch back and forth. So I take an external monitor connected to that to be my monitor for it. When I'm doing things like doing live streaming for podcasts or doing any type of live streaming with multiple cameras, I can use that as a simple, easy way to do the switching. Now right now, I'm not at a point where I need to upgrade to something larger, but at this point, I was able to do a live podcast from a bar by connecting 3 cameras into my switcher, and I was able to switch between the speakers, giving it a very polished podcast feel. And that's what we're going for. We want to make sure that we deliver products and services higher than our customers expect. And that's one thing that the Live Pro L1 does at a sensible cost. For the number 4 item, this is something I've been planning on last year. So when Apple first announced the M1 silicon chip and how great it was gonna be, it was around the same time I started noticing that my MacBook Pro laptop just wasn't cutting it. I would run Final Cut Pro, and due to the amount of rendering and plugins and effects that I would do for work for the church or other customers, my laptop would crash. There was one night where it literally crashed 7 times in a row trying to export a major project for the church. And I was up to like 3 in the morning trying to just export it. Not edit it, simply export it. At that point, I was like, I'm done with the laptop. I will get a desktop. I'm paying all this extra money for a thin form factor and a screen. I ain't gonna buy a screen for cheaper. So when the Mac Mini came out, and it was priced at like $599, it was something really, really low comparative to my laptop. I tried it out, and then immediately the base, simplest Mac Mini blew away my MacBook Pro laptop. And I was like, okay, if they come out with a Pro version of the Mini, I was hoping it'd be like a Mac Mini Pro, I'm buying it on spot. And then later they announced the Mac Studio. And as soon as the Mac Studio was announced, I went ahead and reserved it. And I'll tell you, that was probably the best purchase, one of the best purchases from a computer standpoint that I've ever made. The Mac Mini, the Mac Studio does everything I wanted to do and more. I went ahead and accessorized it with the latest, greatest lightning cables and interfaces to allow me to put the fastest hard drives on it. And so it's working beautifully now. So if you're marketing for a computer, I make the argument, do not buy a laptop, save your money price for price. You can get into the Mac Studio for way cheaper. The last item I want to mention is the Sony a7 IV. This is something else I was planning. I wanted a more modern hybrid camera. I was very on the verge of looking at the FX3, the A7S, A7S III, and some of the other hybrid video focused cameras, but realistically I still do more pictures than video, even though I'm trying to push toward the video more. And that one gave a great option of doing even better with the pictures, being kind of a step up from the 24 megapixel A7 III to 33 megapixels. In addition, having much better video quality and video options. Number one thing was a full-size HDMI. Trust me, I'm so nervous about breaking that little micro HDMI cable that's on the A7 III. Switching over to the A7 IV was great because now I can use my A7 III as a B cam and my A7 IV as the primary camera, and I get amazingly great video quality out of it, and I get a few more options. I can do 4K 60 directly out of that one, and at this point that's good enough for me. I really want to look at the FX6, but realistically I don't do enough business in that realm yet to really justify it, but we're working toward it. So if you got a video you need produced, especially if you're a business, come talk to me. Alright, so I want to keep this one a little short. So those are the top 5 items this year that I picked up and actually used. No wasted money, none of that. We're going to be smart business owners this year. And as I go into 2023, the list of things that I'm interested in getting gets lower and lower. If there's some things you're looking at, leave it in the comments. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, do all the necessary deeds, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.